This is Bold TV.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and welcome once again to Bold Hearts TV. Beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities. This program comes your way every Saturday, and we talk about issues that affect women with disabilities all across the nation. Issues like lifestyle, development, what have you, everything that pertains to the overall development of every woman. So today is another day, and we'll be talking about a topic that is very important to women with disabilities all across the world. But before we delve straight into the topic, we'll start by introducing ourselves. So I'll go first. My name is Constance Neka Onyemichi. I am a young woman with albinism, and I reside in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Okelgede Jean Abeba. I reside in the FCT Abuja precisely. I'm a lady who is visually impaired.
I am Okachi Cynthia, a woman with albinism, residing here in the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bilikisu.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yakubu Bilikisu. I am a woman with disability. I use a wheelchair for my mobility aid, and I reside in Abuja.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Osake Teresa George, reside in Port Harcourt on Polio Warrior, disability rights advocate. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, people. My name is Afeomitim. I'm a lab scientist. I'm based in Kyo, and I use a wheelchair for spinal cord injury.
My name is Tomisin Olatayo. I'm a broadcast journalist, a sound engineer, a copywriter, a gender and disability rights advocate. I reside in Abeokuta, the capital city of Ogun State, and I'm a visually impaired person. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Frankie Andrew, SCN, based in Port Harcourt. I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury, the Idiofaka Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for the introduction. So now we delve into the topic, dealing with stigma and discrimination as it relates to mental health and disability. I know it's a long one, but I would like us to keep our answers short and straight to the point. And like we all know, we've been hearing mental health. But what exactly is mental health, and how does it relate to disability? And then the first question, I'll throw the first question to Madam Bilikisu. Madam Bilikisu is the coordinator for AUDI, and I'm sure she has dealt with a lot of women with disabilities from different self-help groups. So Madam Bilikisu, the first question, what are the stigma and discrimination, common misconception of let me take that again. What are the common misconceptions and stereotypes about mental health and disability? The common misconceptions about and stereotypes about mental health and disability.
All right. Thank you so much, Constance, and thank you, everyone. Good morning once again. There's a whole lot of myths around mental health and a person's, disability. Mental health is always related with disability because they believe that if you are a woman or a person with disability, you don't have a good state of mental health. That means your faculty of thinking, you cannot comprehend what is actually happening within around you. So there is a whole lot of stigmatization and discrimination coming from the grassroots. As a leader of a self-help group, and I've related with a whole lot of women and girls with disability, a whole lot of issues is being related. At times you hear a common saying that said, leave that one. What affected her legs has already affected her brain. So people always see issues around mental health as they believe that if you're a person with disability, your state of mind is zero. You cannot comprehend what is happening around you. You cannot make an input in the society. And there's a way that you cannot even relate with people. And even you try you try to even involve yourself or even engage with other people. They always believe that a person with disability a state of mental health that cannot understand what is happening around them and will not be useful in the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bilikisu. Thank you for that, your answer. From some things you've picked, you talked about people thinking that women with disabilities are helpless, they cannot make decisions, and a whole lot more. But I also want to draw our attention to the fact that, we also have some people who have some mental disability in itself, And I want us to also draw that into this discussion. So I'll pass the same question on to Afyong. Afyong, please, stereotypes that affect mental health and disability.
Okay, just like the Okesu said, more often than not, people assume that when a persons with disability, usually the disability is not limited to the physical, and that because their bodies are broken, that means their minds are also broken. And in some cases, this may seem to be true because, when people cannot cope with the probably maybe sometimes, most cases, sudden, appearance of disability or suddenly becoming disabled, they now, they may find it difficult to cope, and people tend to see that as evidence that something is wrong with them. And then another thing is that persons with disability, when it comes to mental health, more often than not, it may not be what people say. More often than not, it is their ability to be able to, understand what is happening to them and coping mechanisms. So this may affect the way they express themselves outward, and especially for people with intellectual disabilities, it's difficult for people to tell the difference. And so they assume this one, there's something wrong with his head. And that's why he or she is, presenting like that.
Thank you so much, Afyong. Thank you for that very elaborate discourse concerning this topic. Now, my next question is on the impact, because we know that everything that happens has a good and a bad side. It impacts negatively, it impacts positively. But now I'm going to look at the negative impact of stigma and discrimination as it relates to women with disabilities. The negative impact of stigma and discrimination as it relates to women with disabilities. Jane, I would like you to give us an insight into this question. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And when we talk about the stigma, discrimination for women and girls with disability is a lot. I want to systematically talk about into the social system. I'm going to break it down. Talking about our family sector, which is the basic unit, women and girls with disability are restricted. They cannot make decisions in families, and they are considered as not worthy to make decisions. Now, talking about the educational system, they struggle to access education. It's a really lot. You people can actually relate to what I'm talking. It's a really lot for a woman, a girl with disability to go to school. There are a lot of bullies, shaming, body shaming. And after even being educated, accessing employment, it's really difficult. Most women and girls with disability are not employed, and that has really strained their personality. It affects their mental health. Now we'll talk about assessing the barriers in accessing the health sector due to the limited infrastructure we have that cannot accommodate women with disability. They cannot even access this mental health due to financial constraint. Talk about the even biggest challenge. Few women and girls with disability can struggle to even get married. Few of them get married. Why? Because they also struggle with their social interaction. They struggle with their social interaction, and the society view them, and we are all placed. Women with disability are placed as not worthy, not desirable, capable of love. And you see that I'm not even sexually active. It's a lot. I can say a lot and a lot. I just need to stop there, because if we talk about it today, we won't stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you for throwing more light on that. You talked about inaccessibility. So there's an accessibility issue for a woman with disability to access healthcare and mental health, the family sect, and you talked about even how it affects their social standing. That's a great one there. Thank you very much. Cynthia, I would like you to shed more light on the negative impacts of stigma and discrimination as it affects women with disabilities.
Oh, thank you very much, Constance. In addition to what Jane have said, one result or impact of stigmatization is deprivation. Of course, it is a society who is informed about the needs and with equity conscious puts into consideration women with disability in a resource allocation. You see deprivation being outplayed in resource allocation, in political participation. Of course, you can hardly see a woman with disability adopting a child. In some countries, the difficulty women with disabilities stand a high risk of getting depressed or suffering mental issues because of the result of stigmatization and the myths surrounding their disability. They are exposed to sexual-based violence. They are exposed to HIV because they are perceived as people who do not have a say or make a choice when it comes to their sexuality. You see, they are prone to contracting HIV and STD from male counterparts who see them as second fiddle. They have a high risk of being depressed and losing their self-esteem. You see, these things result to low self-esteem. You see them not wanting to come out to speak up, resulting to death, worsening of their situation because they do not believe even in the justice system. Thank you very much.
And you made mention of 3 Ds. You talked about deprivation, depression, and death. And yes, I know sometimes the society is not aware of how their behavior or their interaction negatively affects women with disabilities, and I'm sure that when they listen to this, they will learn a thing or two from what we are currently discussing. Now, over to Freki. I would like to know, how do you think we can jointly come together to combat this issue of discrimination and stigmatization as it relates to mental health and women with disabilities? How do you think we can come together to combat this issue, Freki?
Okay, so I'll say a few things. Thank you very much. The first thing I'm going to say is you need to fight the lack or the ease of self-stigmatization. Sometimes when we think about stigmatization, we think about others, but we do not realize that a lot of times that we stigmatize against ourselves. So that's one thing we need to fight. How can you do that? Would be to begin to intentionally note your positives and your strengths and focus a lot more on those. It's easy to see the negative side of things, especially when it comes to disabilities that are obvious. So you may begin to want to note your strengths, find those strengths and push them more forward. So avoid self-stigmatization. The second one I would say is one must avoid isolation. I've seen too many women with disabilities feel that they're not up to par and they don't want to associate with other women with disabilities. And I ask myself that if you will not associate with people that look like you, sound like you, see like you, then when will you even begin? So avoid isolation, like insert yourself into spaces that will bolster your self-confidence, that will begin to give you opportunities to learn, because that's the only way you can begin to overcome stigmatization and discrimination. Let me explain. Stigmatization and discrimination is one thing that would be there in society, because as long as disability is not understood, as long as it is enshrouded in cultural and spiritual undertones, it will for a very long time stay in that lane of stigma and discrimination. However, that is where we must do work on ourselves. I like to use the illustration a lot of a lion. A lion knows his character. He knows that he's a prime predator. He knows that he's a territorial animal. So if you stand in front of a lion and call a lion an ant, you are wasting your time, because it will show you that he is a lion by eating you up, that he's a predator. He will hunt you down and show you that this is my character and this is who I am. So we must begin to internalize and begin to overcome discrimination and stigma by working on ourselves. Look at women here. We cannot say that we have been anything of ourselves, but we have opened ourselves to learning, to growing, to be able to rise above being only defined by disability. Because whether you like it or not, whether it is physical disability you have, whether it is a sensory disability you have or impairment, honestly, disability really starts with the mind. So if you focus on it, it will cover you and you will not be able to break through. There's a lot to say, but let's follow the line. Let's stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Freki. Oh, sorry, I thought I was unmuted. You talked about finding yourself, building on the positives and not the negatives, not dwelling on the negatives, not isolating yourself. And as a woman with disability, you raised a whole lot of issues. Self-development, that is key. Self-development is also very key to that. And I really align with that because, like you said, every woman on this call, we are all women with disabilities, but what makes us different from the other woman who is on the street, who does not understand these things we're talking about, is knowledge. And how did we even get there? Self-development. So thank you so much, Freki. Osaki, I would also like you to contribute to this question. How do you think we can combat discrimination and stigmatization as it relates to mental health and disability?
All right, thank you very much, Constance. Okay, I'll just contribute 2 more points to add up what Freki just said. I'll say like what we are doing now is a very good one. It is a big and bold step. Increase the visibility of people with disability as active members in society. All of us here have one profession we are doing. So already just know that women with disability, whatever the issue it is, we have like a good positive sense, and we are active in society. We are contributors. The next one is peer-to-peer support. Can counter self-stigma. So like what Freki just said, you cannot isolate yourself. It's not one man an island. You meet with other persons, say out your issue. Somebody must have encountered what you're going through. So you're not alone. So the moment you share, say problem shared is half solved. So when you go out, you meet people, you'll be able to mingle, you'll be able to share your experience, you'll be able to help somebody, and say that you're able to help yourself. So those are the 2 points I think I want to add for the combating of women with disability and mental health.
Thank you so much, Osaki. I think you also aligned with Freki when you said, you talked about not isolating yourself, and peer-to-peer learning. Yes, sometimes I think we do not know the power of peer-to-peer learning, where you can sit with your mates and have discussions on things that have happened, how to handle things like that. Discussions like that builds self-esteem. But at the same time, when you're doing peer-to-peer learning, take the positives and drop the negatives. Because some will take everything and say, I learned it here, and it will not work. Take what will work positively and leave the other. Tommy C, please, I would like for you to also add to this. How do you think we can combat stigma and discrimination as it relates to women with disabilities and mental health?
Okay, so as a woman with disability, I'll be talking to the woman with disability first. I would say that we've been talking about positivity. Surround yourself with all the positivity you can get. Stay away from negative energy. I mean, if whatever they are going to say or do will break you, will prevent you from being the best that you can, the best thing is to stay away from such circle and, move with people who will give you all the support, all the encouragement, all the empowerment that you need. I would also be speaking from the angle of rules and regulations to protect persons with disabilities, more so women and girls with disabilities. I mean, Nigeria has an act, a Prohibition Against Discrimination Act, with moratorium is over. I mean, that 5 years for institutions, the society, governments, families, generally to begin to take note of that act is over. And so I feel women and girls with disabilities should begin to test that law. Somehow we should just take that bold step to test the law. So if you feel you've been discriminated against or you've been stigmatized and it's affecting you as a woman with disabilities, affecting you emotionally, it's time to reach out to the upholders of our laws and ensure that justice is served at the end of the day. Thank you.
So much, Tommy C. I like the fact you talked about our Disability Act, and the provisions and testing it. And I would like to add as a side note, please, when you are trying to test the act, make sure you are within rights. So we don't fight a field war. So make sure that you acquaint yourself with the contents of the act before prosecuting someone. Make sure you have facts and evidence, because that's the law deals with evidence and facts and not perceived or hearsays. So moving on to the last question for this segment, we are going to talk about how we can promote a more positive and accurate understanding of mental health and disability. Now, this is a personal thing. How do you think you can promote a more positive and accurate understanding of mental health and disability? I'll throw this question to Osaki, then we will go around. Each of us will provide an answer to this. So I'll take it again. How do you personalize it? How do you think you can promote a more positive and accurate understanding of mental health and disability? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Constance. I'm very brief here. For me, what I will do is early intervention, because mental health does not stop anywhere, no matter how we say it. People still go, people still get it. So if I come across somebody or whoever has it within my cycle, I'll try and see how I can include what we call early intervention, like who have you met, what have you done, the places you've gone to, so that as this child or whoever is growing, the person does not have it at a deeper state. But the moment you can do one or two introductions to that person, it helps whoever is involved or people or the caregivers around that person. So I think early intervention is one key I really would want to do if I come across anybody of that kind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Osaki said early intervention. So the same question, question will go around. So Jane Okelgene, I would like to know your answer to this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm thrilled because it's very interesting. The topic is very interesting. And I want us to know in this room and everybody to take note of is that disability, whether we like it or not, it triggers, it influences mental health issue. So, sorry, I'm really elaborating.
No problem. Go ahead.
Okay, women and girls with disability, they face variety of structural and ideological challenges, which have little to do with their actual limitation. These stereotypes, this stigma, this misconception is the root cause of this poor mental health. So, what I would say, first of all, the society, we need an increased awareness to reduce the stigma. That's what we are doing now. We should start from ourselves by educating ourselves to come out boldly to talk to the society, that we are well informed, we have existing laws, and provide these resources and services for people to understand this situation of disability and mental health that is related. And also we should advocate for mental health rights. It's very, very important because I notice in this part of the society, they don't really attach importance to it. I think this point, I will stop here because I'll go on and on. Thank you.
Yes, we don't attach importance to it because we always say, we are Nigerians, we are strong, we can face everything. And then we'll shout, we'll go inside our room and cry, depression.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so same question to Freki. How do you think we can, the positive and accurate understanding of mental health?
Okay, so just to establish that, I know that you spoke to the fact that we should speak about mental disability, but it may be difficult to be able to handle all in this same space. So I'll just focus on mental distress, that's mental health that comes with disability, like I've been for a while. So one of the things I would say is this, demystifying or making it look like mental distress or mental stress is a terrible thing. It's a good place to start. Everyone faces stress. Women with disabilities will face stress either because of gender or because of disability or the interaction or stigma or the impact. So if you feel stressed mentally, do not begin to think that you are a subhuman or that why can't I be superhuman like the other women with disabilities around me. So that is making it or normalizing it that mental stress, mental distress is okay. However, seek help when you do experience it. So one of the ways to be able to combat it is to be able to identify when you're generally feeling stressed. So one of the things you can ask yourself is, in the past few days, in a month, am I having too many unwell days, or am I having too many days where I'm feeling stressed?
I think we lost Freki. Freki, can you hear us?
I can hear you, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I think we kind of lost you for it.
Okay, I was here. So do I have many unwell days? Do I have many sad days? Do I have many days where I don't want to do anything? You need to ask yourself, my emotional state, is it affecting my ability to engage? So ask yourself those things. So be self-aware. That's what I'm trying to say, of what your mental health is, so that you can actively seek for help. One thing people don't know is that you cannot tell somebody that is going through mental distress, you're going through mental distress, go and seek for help. If the person does not acknowledge it, the person is not going to do anything with it or about it until maybe it's too late. So I'm speaking to us here because sometimes we think that if somebody is flying high, the person is above, mental health and disability. No, watch it. Once you just see that you don't want to engage with public, you want to be just withdrawing, everything, you want to be stepping back, you may want to ask for help. And this help sometimes is not necessarily professional help. You may just want to find somebody to unburden, to speak with. A peer, a mentor, pastor, anybody that just want to unburden. So avoid bottling up. And the last thing I'm going to say, about what you can do is this: be patient with others, because everybody's journey is different. People are on different journeys with disability, different journeys in self-discovery. So be patient with the other person. Thank you.
Thank you, Freki. Thank you so much. Be self-aware and be patient with others, and don't think you are superhuman. Cynthia, please let's just keep it 1 point so it goes round and because of time. Thank you.
Okay. Briefly, I would like to say, since stigmatization and myths are inherent in the way society is structured, I think in my little space, I would focus on supporting family and friends who have cases of mental health challenges and disability. Of course, if my voice can impact, I should air it in my little space, social media platform, come up with conversations and discussions that help to promote and dispel some of these misconceptions around mental health and disability. I should be able to listen without judgment. Of course, that is the only way persons with mental health issues and disability can open up, when you don't judge, when you listen. Of course, when you make them under, there's this ideology that they can easily snap out of it. It is all part of God's plan. No, we have to dispel some of these misconceptions at every little opportunity, in every little space we find ourselves. And of course, if you can extend it to the community level, it will be a very wonderful idea.
Thank you, Cynthia. You talked about being a shoulder to lean on for your family and friends. Please, and family and friends too, and also listening. So in case I come to you and I say, there's a problem, please listen. Don't judge me. Don't be judgmental. That is what she has said. Do not judge. So we'll move over to Tomisi, then Afyong, and Bilikisu. Thank you.
All right. I would say that wherever I find myself, part of what I've been doing, at any point, in any space where I find myself, I consider representation a very big part of the work that needs to be done to ensure that persons with disabilities no longer go through stigmatization or discrimination. So for me, it's a continuous effort. It's a deliberate effort wherein wherever I find myself, you cannot, play the stigma card. You cannot play the discriminatory card. I do my best to represent well the disability community so that when I leave and another person with disability, another woman specifically with disability comes in, there is an open door already. People know already that, these people can. They do not come and start saying cannot, and all of that. So for me, representing the disability community, in particular women and girls with disability, is of paramount, and I intend to continue doing that wherever I find myself, either on social media, conventional media, or off media. Thank you.
Thank you, Afyong. Thank you so much, Oluwatomisin. Yes, Afyong.
They have said everything you want me to say now. They have said everything I wanted to say.
This is what happens when you have so many people that know book.
Let me sound like children. They have said everything I wanted to say. I said, please check your brain again. Okay. Seriously though. Okay. When it comes to mental health, I would say being vulnerable is very important. We talked about self-awareness. We talked about, not isolating yourself, reaching out, being vulnerable, because the reason why, this is not limited to just persons with disability. Many times, everybody wants to put their best foot forward and, let them know that, I'm doing very well. Sometimes it's good to go out there and let people know that, yes, I struggle too. I have areas I also struggle, it can be difficult. And then somebody out there will go, I'm not alone in this. And they can also get some comfort and some hope. So vulnerability is key, especially if you're in a position of influence. Being able to let them know that, look, just because I look the way I do outward does not mean nothing is going on the inside. And then another thing is that women with disabilities especially must be willing to seek help. We have a serious problem with help seeking. It used to be a men's issue. Men were the ones that when it comes to health, you have to drag them to the hospital and, talk for them and go. But now it's become a problem because everybody wants to be strong. You don't have to be strong. Let's get help. Ask for help. It doesn't diminish you. It doesn't make you less. Ask for help. If you find yourself having too many negative thoughts, those moments when you're alone and it seems there's a storm inside your head, talk to someone, ask for help so that you can, be able to move on and do better. Thank you.
Post on mute.
Bilkisu, is Bilkisu now with us?
Okay, thank you so much. Just like what Afian said, everybody have said everything, but one thing I want to add to what we have said so far is that every human being, irrespective of their status in the society, are going through one form of mental health issue or the other. So we should just not relate it only to persons with disabilities. So one major thing I'm going to hammer on is for us to identify what triggers our mental health issues, and then we should stay away from it. Because when you start identifying issues that trigger your mental health, things that trigger your mental health, then you should know how to try to avoid it and then stay away from it. Because mental health issue is not only related to persons with disability, which I always tell people. So you cannot tell me that my women with disability, what affected their eyes or their hair or is affecting their brain. No, every individual, irrespective of where they find themselves, go through one mental health. But the ability for us to understand there are triggers for us to stay away from it, understanding the early warning sign for us to stay away from whatever it is that will trigger our mental health is the whole issue. And another thing I want to talk about is being able to advocate anywhere you have opportunity. You must not have an NGO. Just like what Cynthia said, you have your own small space where you create, make people understand what is disability. Also, we can start advocating for people to understand that persons with disability also go through issues around mental health issues. Are you talking about the social isolation? Is it the stigmatization? Even the economy itself, even Nigeria itself is even enough to give people mental health. So it's for us to start understanding that there is something that triggered mental health issue. It's not only related to persons with disability, but every individual have a role to play. And there's a way we can also, if we have opportunity, we can also lobby into the government to see if there's a way we can create an opportunity, like design a policy on how to identify, even understand the mental health of persons, especially persons with disability, not being relegated to the Bible, understanding what affected their head has already affected their brain, or what affected their leg is already disturbing their mental health. So we should always understand that we all have a role to play. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your words. And the last line, we all have a role to play. Your parents, your teachers, whoever you're with, you and I, we have a role to play to ensure that we have positive outcomes when it comes to addressing issues that affects women with disabilities in regards to their mental health. So viewers, we have come to the end of today's program. I'm sure you enjoyed it, and I'm sure you can relate to what we have discussed and take back the positives that we have given to you. Apply it in your own little way, in your community, in your own little space. So until we come your way next time, next week Saturday, we remain beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities. And lastly, let's not forget to go support our Super Eagles who will be playing on Sunday. Let's support them. They're in the finals. Women with disabilities too, we also watch football. So please, let's go out there and support our very own and let them bring the cup back home. Thank you very much. Until we come your way next time, stay blessed. Bye. Please turn on your camera.
Well, if you go to thank for mental health, just wait for the phone. Bye.
You cannot stand it. Don't go and watch. Wait for the spouse like me. People like me, when they finish, tell me. I don't want to.
I will not tell you.
This is Bold TV.